Hi, everybody. This is Chris,
Hi, this is Matt.
and today we're going to be talking about Shard of Spring. Um,
Another SSI game. We did Questron, and now it's time for the Shard of
yes,
Spring.
yes, and I genuinely don't know how this one's going to go. Um,
Yep. Yeah. Like this was the first game that we've played that neither of us have grew up playing. Like we had both played Questron.
yeah,
Uh, so this is the first time we're like going in raw on something we've never played before. And
complete,
yeah,
yeah, completely blind on this one. And I, did you like it?
boy, I went through a phase where I really liked it, and then I got over it really quick. And now I'm leaning toward I didn't really like it.
I
How
went.
about you?
So I started out and immediately within like the first day of playing this, thought if I wasn't playing this for the club, I wouldn't play this game again. And it took about 2 days of concentrated effort, and then I liked it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then I didn't. And then I started to like it again. And then I didn't again. And
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt. Like after the first day, um, I was ready to just like call it. I was just gonna like come clean. I can't play this thing. I'm not smart enough or whatever, or patient enough or whatever
yeah,
you have to be. Uh, but then I survived a little bit more and kind of got into it, and I liked it for a period of time. But then, well, we'll probably talk about how grindy this thing gets, because it does turn into a total grind.
it it can. Right off the bat, in our defense, I want to point this out because I got I ordered a game. What was the game? Well, I've got one of their like boxed games on my shelf,
Oh, cool.
and not for this. This is I want to talk about how hard it is to find old games because this is a perfect example of something that if we don't cover it on the show, I don't know that anyone's ever going to find it or talk about it or anything else. Um, but within the SSI catalog, they have this really neat thing at the back, and I wish more companies did this, where they put the average feedback from mail in cards in their catalog
Hmm.
on what is it? Playability, realism, and excitement.
Ooh,
So every game got scored on the average of everybody who mailed in a card for that game.
neat.
This is the lowest rated game and the lowest rated version of this game in their catalog.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk. We both played this on the DOS,
Yeah.
the DOS version, and th- that's the first time that's happened. Like, you usually play Commodore, and I usually play
Right.
whatever I can find. Uh, but yeah, I think the DOS version of this game was possibly rougher than the other ones.
I would bet, but I couldn't find a working Commodore ROM.
Yeah, that's sad. Like, even though we both kind of agree this game's not the be all end all. I mean, this was someone's life, for a long time to make this game, and it's a shame to have it just be gone.
Well, and I mean, while there's some rough spots to it, I've got a feeling already by the way we're talking about this. Like, normally we like a game and then we rip on it the whole time. I think we're going to dislike this game and then be like, but.
Yeah, that might happen.
Combat was genuinely entertaining.
Yes, that to me was the high point of the game, was the combat.
And the story eventually went somewhere. It took a long time, but eventually you felt like you were in a game. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, so there's the overland map. Well, are you relaunching the game here?
yeah, I am
Yeah, so
because
this
one of my
isn't
guys
DOS
died.
boss. Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about this kind of like chronologically,
Okay.
as you go through. So the first thing you're gonna hit is this copy protection, which is
Hmm.
totally cracked.
Yep.
I know because I worked really hard to enter the correct answers for a
Yeah.
long time. And then you're in like this overland map, and I like that the your field of view increases as the day goes on,
Hmm.
and then decreases at night, so you can kind of tell, oh, it's nighttime. I thought that was kind of neat
Yeah.
for the time.
I found it frustrating though that you can only camp like once a day,
Yeah,
but I
or
can go to
sleep.
the inn. Yeah, you can camp as much as you want. You can only sleep once a day, which is the only thing that regenerates your magic points. We're gonna. I want to save that for when we talk about magic points because that's.
I got a lot to say about that.
I got a lot to say about that, and
Got a lot of feelings about it.
this I think so far either we're getting better at notes or we really just had another game with a lot to say about it because it's another 5 pages of notes on this game.
Yeah,
Um, but
but
go on.
I was just gonna say that this combat is good. Like it's in this case, it's just a wide open field. But there's some like strategy, and you have to adapt when things go wrong.
Yeah,
And it's not like XCOM, but it's got some tactics to it.
yeah,
Unlike Questron, where you just stand there and hold down the F key until you die or win.
yeah.
So I like that a lot in this game.
No, you felt like you were doing something. And for people who know SSI from the Gold Box games and the AD&D series there, you can see the glimmer of the start of that combat system in here. You can see it beginning.
Mhm.
Um, but like we'll have to get to Magic, but I don't want to get too far off track for this game's lost.
Yes, yeah,
And like normally I used to feel really bad about saying things like, oh, you might have to go find a ROM or you might have to. I'm feeling less and less bad as I'm watching more and more games end up like this, that there's just no way to get a legitimate copy and we're losing, whether you like this or not, it's getting lost to time.
yeah. I
And
mean, this stuff was a big part of a lot of people's childhoods. I mean, there's probably a bunch of dudes and ladies rapidly approaching 40 who like played this on their first PC, and it's sad
mhm,
to have it just not there
it's
anymore.
gone.
You know,
And like the only copy I can even find on eBay is $130.
yeah. Someone else figured out that you can't find it anymore. I
Right?
guess.
It's not happening. I'm not paying that. But
No, we should start a or like a GoFundMe.
go fund me to archive old games.
Yep.
That's not a horrible idea.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll do it, but it's not a horrible idea.
No.
Requires more work than I think I'm going to put into it. But
Yeah.
um, that you couldn't even find a working Commodore ROM at all. And I don't. Did you even try the Apple II version?
No, I didn't. I just went straight with the DOS version. I would have. I played Demon's Winter, which is the sequel to this, which
Yeah.
I suspect is much better. I haven't gone back, but I played that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Not knowing that it was the second one and not really caring
No.
either. But yeah, no, I would have liked to try the Apple version, but I was happy with DOS.
Yeah. For a long time, I think no one cared. Like if you were playing the second or third version of a game, it didn't matter.
Yeah,
You just played. Um, but no, this is one of those, find it as best you can, and if somebody's got a working ROM of it out there for Commodore, let me know. Because
yeah,
I'd like to try this on a couple different systems. Just because this one was programmed in QBasic,
right.
and I'm betting the Commodore and Apple II versions probably have a little bit more going on. Uh, I hope I know somewhere in this stream of the video, um, we'll see
Should
some
link
of
it
the
up.
MS Paint style graphics because it's just
I'm
so
losing yes.
rough.
Oh, I got you back. I'm
Got me
sorry. I
back?
had to
Yeah, I saw you
correct my
blink out there for a
quality.
second. No, I was talking about the MS
Yeah.
Paint graphics.
Oh yes, yeah, I liked those a lot. I'm not, that's what, and I don't want to get into a big like Questron versus Shard of Spring because that's a dilemma that no one is ever going to have again in
No,
the history of history.
no.
But Questron was more broken up because there were different vantage points and different,
Hmm.
the game changed as you went through it. The only thing that breaks up this game are the little interjections and the little encounters and combat.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's really samey.
yeah. But it also isn't long. What's really long about it, like we've already mentioned, is the grind. Is
Yes.
it nothing goes fast. There needs to be an auto resolve for combat, I think.
Yeah, later games did that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, because like fighting bugums when you're like level 1,000,000 is just a waste
Yeah.
of time.
And there really only were like 10 creatures.
Yeah, right. I didn't like that either.
There weren't a lot. You started seeing some different ones towards the end, but not many.
Yeah, the sprites are pretty limited.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's pretty rough.
So this is one of those games where you roll your characters, and the first game I remember really like enjoying doing that was Might and Magic games. I used to
Yeah.
really like rolling characters.
Well, and I like how they have you roll characters. Like with Might and Magic or Deathlord's another one I play, or a lot of those that have you do the dice rolling, you roll the whole set over and over and over again.
Hmm.
This is you get 3 rolls, but you can keep numbers you like. So
Right, it's like bar dice kind of.
yeah, and so you can get a character that's pretty good to start out with. What did you go with for a party?
I went with three fighters and two mages, and I see you. Looks like you went the wrong way with
Correct, I went the wrong way. I
because
was
mages. Yeah, let's talk about the stats and how useless mages are, just kind of generally. Uh, so I found later in the game that I had one character who I liked the most, and he was the character with the best speed.
hmm.
That was the only thing that he had going for him, was that he had the most speed. I could move him around in combat.
Yep.
So if I were to play this again, I would just roll until I got like the highest speed I could
Yep.
and just like settle for anything else because it doesn't really matter that much.
No,
I don't. I don't.
and I would probably take 4 fighters and a mage.
Right. I would do the same. Yep.
The mages
Yep.
are there's momentary needs for them, but for the most part, they're worthless.
Right. They're just someone else to get bound.
Yep. If they can't
I,
be doing combat, and you never want to use them in combat because this is where might as well just dive into it. We're gonna just keep beating around it.
yeah.
Mages don't get enough magic points to be super useful, and by the time they do, you still don't want to because it's so expensive to unbind someone or to resurrect someone or to do heals or anything else to keep the party going that you just don't use them. They sit around in cloth with a knife, not
Right.
being valuable. So your fighters do all the work, and mages are there just
To
in
unbind
case.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. It's a really bad design. And it makes it pretty not fun
Mm.
because there's nothing worse than having like 3 bound guys and then having your bind spells fail, even though you're like
Right?
you've met the spell point requirement, which is pretty high on
Hmm.
its own, and then to have it fail and then to have to do it again and have it fail again, it's really like
Well,
it
and
it nerfs mages totally.
yeah, and what it bound you determines the difficulty to unbind you.
Right.
So you're going to run into some of that coupled with like the percentage chance you have to unbind goes up with how many spell points you put in it. So if you want it to actually maybe succeed, you got to put all your spell points in right at the beginning, and it still might fail. It still
And then
might.
when you rest, it's not like you get them all back
Nope.
either. You get a tiny amount back. You wind up having to sleep for like a week to fill up their spell points later in the game.
Yeah, I want to look something up. Well, you want to go on that for a second? I want to look.
Sure. The other thing that really bugs me about mages is like a lot of games, you have some options for getting better weapons and better armor for mages. Like there's cloth, and then there's some other crappy armor, or there's like a dagger or like a slightly better dagger. In this, it's like you get the dagger day one with your mages, and then that's all they get for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It's a total bummer. Like, and the other, which, okay, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but
Go for it.
well, the equipment in this game is a huge problem because one of the best things about role-playing games is grinding for equipment, like to get that next awesome sword. In this game, none of that.
Nope.
You're gonna find a set number of weapons in combat, and you have to identify any of them that are like special, which sucks because you can only do it once a day. So it just becomes not worth it at a point. And like the money system is so screwed up.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna unload. Sorry. You can't sell things in this game, and that pissed me off so bad. I was so upset about it because I just was like, oh, every time I was in combat, I get a new weapon, and I grabbed them all, and I like, all right, I'm gonna go sell these. I'm gonna have enough money to like do something. Nope, you can't do it. There's just no option to sell things.
No.
You can't do it.
There's not. No, what I was going to point out here, and I wanted to make absolutely 100% sure before I opened my mouth. So when you rest for the evening, you get 1 hit point and 5 magic points back for every time you rest. Most spells that do anything take 10 plus magic points.
Yep.
Resurrection, for a 25% chance to resurrect somebody, is 25 magic points.
Right.
Minimum. Not
Right.
you can spend 5 and roll the dice and hope it works. It's you're spending 20. So you got to rest 5 nights to get resurrection up. Not that you can cast that right away.
Right. Right. That's the other thing. Like the beginning is such a pisser because if anything happens to your guys, you're just like, you're done.
Yeah.
Because you don't have enough money because you can't sell anything.
Nope.
And your mages all suck because
They can't cast anything. They can't even
right.
cast all the spells in the book until they get a couple levels under them. Which, by the way,
Yep.
you can't just get some XP and raise their level. No. You got to hike their ass to somewhere with a training guild. Now, I would understand if that was just for the skills, like you can't get new skills until you go to the Mages Guild, or fighters can't get new fighter skills until they go to the Fighters Guild. But no hit points, no magic points, no anything until you get to one of these guilds. You'd think, okay, well, I just go to town. No, not every town has them. The first 2 towns you find don't have them. And if you're lucky, the 3rd town you find has the Fighters Guild, but good luck getting to it because it's hell and gone from where you started, and you're trying to get down there with level 1 guys who've got nothing and no equipment and no money, and you basically haul ass into town on fumes. Thankfully, the one saving like little moment is it doesn't cost you to raise level. But my first time down there, I hike all the way down there based on what it says in the book for should get them level up, and that's still not enough. I've got another 150 XP to go before I can level my guys up. So I'm wandering around down there with tougher monsters because the farther you get away from the entry point, the harder the monsters get. So you can't even fight around the area to train your guys up because the monsters are too hard for level 1 guys.
And let's not bury the lead here. That the place you have to go to level up your wizards is even harder to get to.
Even harder to get to.
It's even further away.
It's further away, and you're fighting like level 3, level 4 mages, and you're like,
yeah,
this is level 1 mages. So when you finally get there, your guys shoot up to level 5 immediately because you finally got them there.
Yeah. which feels good, but it's terrible pacing.
Terrible pacing. The book even says, after your first dungeon or two, go find the trainers. After your first dungeon or two,
Right.
I would
Yeah.
think you'd want to train your guys before going in a dungeon. And this was sort of where I fell down at the beginning with how I played this game of trying to grind people, push them till they died, and then thought I'd go back and resurrect them.
Hmm.
Horrible way to play. As soon as somebody gets held or dead, restart the game.
Yep. This is a game where inconvenience is worse than death.
Yep.
You'd be better off just like dying
Yeah.
than having to unbind and like I could eat shit on the resurrection and like with a smile on my face, but don't charge me up the ass to unbind my guys as
No.
well.
Right.
It's agonizing.
Yeah, the resurrection I get. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, it's a big deal.
that's
I get
death.
that.
Death. It's death. It should be inconvenient. I get that.
Sure.
But it's a magic spell, and I've got the spell to unbind you. It's way too expensive, and it doesn't work nearly enough. It's
Right. And if you do it in combat, like you could just get bound again.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, in going back to defending the game, and this is part of why we ping pong back and forth. You might get bound again, sure, but most of the mages have the same sort of magic point limitations you do. The
That is
advantage,
true.
the advantage they get is they get to spend it all in this combat because they're either dead or not. They only exist in this combat.
Right.
But they're not gonna cast endless binds.
That's true.
They
That
can
is-
cast once and something else. But here's the other thing. So we've already said that most of these spells are so expensive you can't get them right away. And you're really only going to be doing unbinding. All the area of effect spells can't be cast first round.
Yeah, that's a kick in the balls. And I get it. Like, oh, maybe I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah, like I understand why they did that because otherwise you would be. Maybe they thought you would like have fun or combat would take 20 minutes. So I understand like they wanted to get rid of that. But like here, like this would be perfect
Yeah.
for you to just like bust out a tempest and wipe out all these whatever they are, cobras.
Cobras. Yeah.
But yeah, that sucks too. Like mages in this game I wouldn't even
No.
bother.
No. Take one for some of the unbinds and to identify items and stuff like that. But
Yeah, and here's why, by the way, why that's really good advice. Because the skill system in this game is also pretty broken.
yeah.
Because you start and you're like, oh, I can only take like 2 schools of magic. What am I going to do? I better get a bunch of mages.
Mhm.
But as soon as you level up a couple times, you pretty much have all the skills. Like all your guys wind up with all the skills pretty early in the game.
Yeah. By like
So-
level 8 I had all of them
Yeah.
for everybody. Which and it's because the skill is all or nothing. If the skill was like a nice progressive, we're
Right.
going to just keep adding and growing and going, that would be really cool, but it's not. It's you take the skill and now you have it. You've learned
Yeah.
all of this sort of thing. And that would have been a better way to limit some of these spells. Give people access to, lower the magic point cost of spells, but make them require higher skill levels, and you still would have gotten that pacing I think they were going for without this mess.
Right. Yeah, like I put a lot of effort into naming my guys so I would know who had what skills and blah blah blah. And then I was like, oh, that was dumb because everyone has every skill by the end, so it doesn't matter
Doesn't matter.
if my fire mage or my ice mage is named something meaningful.
No, and because you can't focus them, they stop feeling meaningful. Like in the beginning,
right.
they felt really kind of special, and by the end, it's my mage and it's my other mage, and
Yep.
the only thing that really matters is the speed. Because when your speed gets high enough, this is one of the things where the game did well. Like when your speed gets high enough that you take 2 or 3 guys out and around, the first time you do that, you feel like a badass. You
Yes,
feel like
that
you
was good.
like, oh, I finally got it. Where I went smack, smack. I got 2, and
Yep.
there aren't enough of those moments. The
Yeah,
moments that are there make you feel really good, but there's not enough of them to sort of override the rest of the game.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this thing is basically just a big, huge grind toward uh, what I assume is an unsatisfying ending. I didn't beat it. Did you beat it?
I have to go back and finish.
Oh,
We'll
you
talk
you
about my
said you were gonna do
heartbreaking.
it.
I couldn't quite make it. I was sick, man.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll be nice. I didn't even get close, and I feel fine. So,
No, I think it's
but
worse.
I was like, fuck this.
I think if I hadn't got close, I wouldn't go back. But I now know I can get to the final room, so go get
Yeah.
my guys raised up, march them back there, maybe drop one of my mages for another fighter,
Hmm.
just cause. Um,
But won't he be level 1 if you start a new fighter?
well, I'm gonna have to walk some people around to get some money to stuff, so he might be level 1 or 2 or even 3 or 4. Levels? Did levels seem to matter to you other than hit points?
No, just the hit points.
I mean, they
Yeah,
raise your stats, which is nice, but
having more movement. I guess it did matter. Like you can notice I'm doing more damage, but you don't feel like
it's not the
because the skills
level.
are so limited.
It's the stats. It's not the
Right.
level, really.
Yeah.
And if I get a good roll on some guys and I can put them in plate +2 and a sword +2, like pretty much right away with my other guys dragging along, it shouldn't be a problem. It should be fine. Um,
Yeah. What about races? Did you play that game and like choose races?
I went
'Cause
human and dwarf for my fighters, and then I went all three for my mage, a human, a gnome, and an elf.
oh, interesting.
And again, right off the bat, because of speed, I loved my elf mage. Like,
Yep.
that guy could fly around the battlefield. He was actually a better fighter than my fighters for a while.
Yeah.
And then equipment came into the mix, and that changed. But
Right. Yeah. No, it seemed like there was like human, which is in the middle, and
mhm.
then there was like a one level apart from human, which would be like elf and dwarf,
Yeah,
and then there were the extremes, which is like gnome and troll.
yeah,
Uh, and troll, like, come on,
no.
what a piece of shit! Like, totally, I would not. I don't want to. I don't know if it's racist to say this, but I don't want to play a troll. I don't
Don't.
want him in my party. I don't want him in my kid's school. I don't hate him. I just,
Just, yeah. It's
don't
their
want him around.
lifestyle choice.
That's right. That's right.
No, I don't know. I have the same hard time with, like, any of the races that I've grown up knowing are supposed to be like the evil Tolkien races. Trolls, orcs, half-orcs,
Mm-hmm.
ogres. Deathlord lets you play a bunch of those too. I never did. I'm like, not
Oh,
really. We'll have to play fantasy sometime.
is that fantasy with a PH and an IE?
Yeah.
Nice.
This topic will come up again in there, and I'm gonna just leave it till then because I've beaten that game in the past. Um,
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
I'm trying to decide if it's better than this game.
Oh, if it's not better than this game, I'm not playing it. This is pretty much the lowest bar.
um, I'm gonna say it's better because it has, instead of moments of awesomeness with a bunch of crap, it's mediocre. It's mostly mediocre
Hmm.
with some really good moments and a couple moments of like, how did you think I'd figure this out? Like,
Yeah.
so, but we're not doing that anytime soon anyway.
The other thing I didn't like about this game is that the random encounters aren't really that random. And like I figured this out because there's uh like a kind of a hidden dungeon that's
Mhm.
basically just a really long hallway, and I would always hit combat in the same, like right in the same one or two squares.
Yeah.
It's not random. It's like every so many steps.
You, I did not have the same experience.
Really?
Really? Because like I was actually starting to count on the 30 thing, and was because you thought it was like 30 steps, and then one time I was like, okay, and I got hit outside after like 10 steps, and went,
Hmm.
well, okay, it's not 30, so um,
But it feels like you can tell when you're due for combat,
you
right?
can tell when you're due for combat, and that's the thing. So it doesn't matter because you can like, oh man, I'm due for combat. Save, and if you don't like it, you just reload, and then maybe you don't have the combat again. And if even if you run into another one, it'll be better stuff you're fighting. Like if you run into like 5 level 5 mages or 6 level 5 mages, screw it. Just
Just
quit.
quit. Yep.
Don't bother.
Go outside. Go do something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
The combat, like the mages are the only combat that like where you feel in danger.
yeah.
I thought because no one ever. I mean, I've had guys get beat up pretty bad,
Yeah.
uh, but anything with mages, like I I don't want to do it just because I'm
No.
going to get bound. I'm going to get whatever frozen or killed.
I'm trying to
Uh,
think of what else might have been out there. I mean, a couple things at the end, like some of the elementals got rough.
hmm.
But one of the things by the end is I decided to go on the offensive with binding. So if there was only one or two things, guess what? First round, they were bound.
Oh, see, yeah, I would have liked to do more of that, but I'm like scared of using my magic points because I'm gonna have to unbind someone.
Well, the thing is, if you bound somebody to take them out, that usually cost less than unbinding.
That is true. That's probably a way better way to approach it, and
Yeah.
just like I don't know, but
But
it's still expensive.
it's still expensive, and it's still, you got to have the right kind of combat for it.
Are you reloading here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All the time.
yeah.
This is a hour and a half recording. Expect me to reload a lot.
No shame. No
Nope.
shame reloading Shard of Spring.
Nope.
That's the lesson. The first time when I started, I like didn't save and load much at all, and I just kept having to re-roll my characters
Yep.
because I was being stupid. Like just it's so fast to save.
Yep.
Just
Do it.
just save and reload. Don't like yeah. Don't
Which
think you're gonna be awesome and
let's
just run
okay. So
through it.
let's talk about why I didn't finish the game.
Yeah.
Because so we'd gotten in the habit of like if a guy dies, just turn it off, reload, play again. It doesn't save the game when somebody dies. So I got to the last battle and I'm like, oh, a mage went down. Okay, it's two dragons and the end boss. I'm like, I've got two fighters. They're pretty high up. I'm going to push it. I'm going to see if I can get lucky here and take these guys out. Well, lost the whole party. This is the one instance where the game saves. Nowhere
Nice.
else does the game save on you unless everybody dies. And
Wow.
if everybody dies, it saves the game, and you've got to unbind your party and start them up again with somebody who's alive
Oh, wow.
to kind of resurrect them and take you through the whole thing. Which I wouldn't have a problem with if they let you keep your money. But because money's tied to the party, disbanding the party means you lose all your money. By the time I was done, and you mentioned this in the notes, you're like, when is anybody going to buy any of these magic items? You can never afford it. I had 15,000 gold.
Oh wow.
Like, I could go out and buy some of them, and was what I probably should have done. I should have teleported out, bought some stuff, and come back. And I didn't, and everybody died, and so now I've got to figure out a way to resurrect my 5 guys, starting with
70 gold.
70 gold.
Yep, you're level like 10 guys.
Yep.
It's gonna be 1,000. See, that's the problem. Like with the
Yeah.
money, anytime I get any, I have to save it to unbind my mage or whatever,
Mhm.
or my guys because I don't want to sleep for 3 weeks.
You didn't reboot combats enough is my answer. Like I never
Yeah,
ran into
I
any of
know.
that because somebody got bound. It's same as death. I'm gone. I'm out. Reboot.
Yep, that's a
Um,
smarter way to do it,
it
to
is
be
a way
honest.
smarter way to do it, and I can see why that would have been not as viable an option like in the Commodore days where it takes like 4 or 5 minutes to load. But if you've got
Right.
this thing on an SSD, shut down
Yeah.
DOSBox, open DOSBox, you're back up, you're in the game,
Yeah.
um, and you're back at last save. So as long as you're remembering to save every so often, and it lets you save anywhere except combat.
Yeah, the problem I had is like once I was camped and I accidentally, well, the interface in this game is not good
Oh, it's horrible.
because it's inconsistent. So sometimes escape exits, sometimes it's like enter exits. It's just all over the place.
Yep.
Uh, so I like just had a brain fart and was trying to sleep, but I had broken camp by hitting escape when I shouldn't have. Yeah, reload.
Yep.
Uh, and so I saved, and like I saved with all my guys that were dead, and and by this point I was just so frustrated that I haven't gone back and like I started the process of recovering everyone, but it was
hmm
such a grind, and like there's a tower uh, kind of toward the end of the game, I guess the Gatekeepers Tower.
Yeah.
It's like a maze basically,
Yep.
and you the end of the maze, and there's like four teleporters,
hmm
and one of them takes you where you need to go, and three of them take you back either to the beginning of the maze or outside of the
Yep.
maze somewhere toward where you started.
Yep.
And again, because I didn't save and reload intelligently, I wound up far away, ground my way back through the tower, and at that point I looked it up which teleporter
hmm
to take. But I was just so discouraged by that, uh, by having to do that. Like I can't believe people like
This is a game of save management. Like
yes,
it very much, and I think that's part of why I probably enjoyed it slightly more than you. Is I just was more comfortable abandoning a game and reloading. Just nope,
yeah,
nope.
yeah.
There is one skill that makes mages worth it.
Oh, do tell.
Religion.
Oh yes, religion.
Religion.
Say what you want about religion. It is great in this game. It's like a get out of combat free card,
Yep.
basically.
Um, undead, and especially if you've got three mages will clear the room if it's undead. I don't care how many they send, because this is
Yep,
your for D&D people. This is the cleric's turn undead. You use
yep.
this, and it just starts randomly going through the monsters and destroying them. Um,
Yeah, that's super nice. Priesthood is
priesthood.
the
Yeah.
skill name. Yeah, that and it feels great
Yep.
to not have to do that combat because a lot of them are magic users too,
Yeah.
which is a we've already covered.
Yeah.
It's a huge pain in the ass.
There's an undead boss, and like I started with my mage and hit dispel, and it took him out, and I'm like, well, there you go.
That's fair. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, yeah, definitely. If when you take your one mage, which is what you're gonna do,
hmm
uh,
You got to take
definitely
priesthood.
take priesthood day
Yeah.
one. This is
Um,
one of those times that the game interjects these little
yep.
text things, which I really liked because it feels like a dungeon master breaking in. Like sometimes it describes the room, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah. No, I liked the game. I didn't like some of its implementation, I think is the best way to say it. Like there's a good game in here. There is just some really botched systems that didn't quite let it shine through.
I feel like if you could sell things, and I was really upset.
Yep.
I got to be honest that you can't sell things. Like it, I was up all night thinking about it, sweating. I got all these ball and chains. I just want to get rid of them. But because then you would have some money, and then you could unres your guys, and and some tweaks to the spell system.
Yeah.
This would have been a solid game if they had just done those two things.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Self stuff and the level system for me are
Yeah,
the two. The leveling up is so. I understand not getting to spend skill points. I could have lived with your guys are stuck with the skills they have till they get to training, but they should be getting some hit points. They should be getting some um, magic points. They should be getting some stuff like that until they can get to a trainer and level up. Something, some nod to make it a little less all or nothing would have gone
right,
a long way. Um,
right. Yeah, I agree with that. What's going What's going on here? Did you go to the bathroom?
no, I'm still here.
No, I mean in your game. You're just
Oh,
hanging out at this.
what is going on here? Make sure
The
it's
other th- the other thing that's really weird. I thought maybe this speaks to my lack of experience with old games, but these encounters, a lot of these encounters, you can't go back to them. Any of these text interjections, any of the boss fights, and there's like a process to reset those,
so. And
which is strange to me.
the reason is it's a space issue. Hang on here, still fighting some of that cold. It's a
Sure.
space issue within the game. So they can't store multiple states of this game world. So they
Yeah.
just have a game world state on the disk, and as you change it, it changes. Which is why there is a restore dungeons thing that doesn't work on the DOS version. You've got to do it differently.
Yeah.
But that's what you're running into.
And
And
I saw that in the menu, and I thought, okay, whatever, that's fine. Uh, but I went back because sometimes there's clues and things revealed in those
yeah,
text encounters, and I didn't get that those were part of the dungeon state as well, not just the special equipment and the main bad guy.
yep,
So what I did is just read them straight out of the text files because fuck it.
yep,
It's good. Yeah, they're out there. I mean, they're in plain text. You can
right,
the DAT files and read whatever clues you missed, which is way easier and way less grindy than resetting it and walking back to that one square.
which is also some of the only way to know what weapons are better than other weapons is to open item.dat and take a look.
Yes, yeah, that infuriated me about this game because there's a weapon identification skill, but it doesn't tell you anything about the weapons. It changes the name. It's like, oh,
That's
let
it.
me identify this giant sword. Oh, it's a two-handed sword. Like,
Mhm.
oh, well, thanks. That's
Okay, good to know.
super useful.
Yeah,
It's totally not a useful skill in this game, item identification. It's broken. You can only do it once a day. I mean, it's ridiculous. I just want to
what
know
is up
how
with
much
that?
damage. Yeah.
It's another case of it's a fine system if I could have just identified things or had to roll to I already had to roll. You might not even succeed and it's only usable once a day. And by the way, identify is only usable once a day. There's 4 identify skills. Use
Right.
any of them, none of the rest work for the rest of the day for that guy.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And then when it works, it doesn't even tell you anything. Like, there's a damage value for these weapons. Just
Tell
tell
me.
me what it is when I identify it.
Yeah.
Please. Like, I just want to know which thing I should equip. Like, that's not a lot to ask.
No, not really. Not really.
Now I'm all upset because I totally forgot about the weapon thing. They like give you nothing. You can't sell them to
No.
find out how much it's worth to use
No.
like the monetary system to identify which is better.
You have to drop them, but going into the interface, how bad that is. The only place you can drop them is to go into camp, and then go into the
Right.
character, and then drop them.
Can you imagine having the camp just to throw something away. Really, it's just like a menu. It's a menu system that drives
Yeah.
most of the game, and the menu system is pretty bad. Like
Hmm.
if you're this drove me nuts too. If you're like in the camp menu and you hit a number, because sometimes it's numbers and sometimes it's letters. If you hit a number, it displays your guy's stats, and that's
Hmm.
like a 4-page,
Yeah, and no backing
five
out.
page deal. Yep, and you got to just click through, click through, click through to get back to the main menu, and God help you if you click through too many times. Really, really a poor system.
Yeah. um,
Yeah, I'm salty about this game. I didn't know. I didn't know how salty I was.
it's okay, man. Calm down. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
There's no music. The sound is.
yeah. The sound is just like PC speaker fart noises,
Mhm.
basically. It sucks. All right. And so I tried to play this son of a bitch without the manual.
Yeah,
Not an option.
not an
Not
option.
because all this you type in the name of the spell.
I admire you attempting that because you were right. That's how most people would try this: is to just sit down and try and play this game, and not gonna happen. You
Nope,
can't.
you need the manual. There's a great section in the manual called like interacting with your computer. Like I really like that.
Yeah,
And it's basically just telling you, "Oh, by the way, our menu system is shitty."
it
Like
really is.
that's what that section is trying to tell you in a nice way. Like get ready to be annoyed.
I couldn't stand this manual.
Yeah, it's poorly laid out at best. I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah.
Um, there's a text one and there's a PDF one. Definitely, if you're going to use it, get the PDF one.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, it's really bad, and there's like I don't know. It's just poorly laid out. There's stuff scattered throughout the manual. So if you wanna play it, which that's on you. Yeah, here it is. So just sit down and read this son of a bitch from start to end, because that's the only way you're gonna get what you need to know out of this manual.
Hmm. Kind of goes over what the character utilities are, and I mean, it goes through like in Questron. I don't know how well anybody can even see this, but in Questron, most of the manual was lore. There weren't any game stats things in here.
Hmm.
This is all game stats, but nothing useful. Not how much damage stuff does, or what things can be equipped, or anything like that. It tells you, okay, here's armor, and it gives you some of these base stuff for what the cost should be and what the damage is supposed to be.
But
But this isn't.
that's not all the
No.
weapons. That's the thing.
Mm-mm.
Or maybe I don't know. Maybe if you go through the bullshit of identifying them, maybe I don't
No,
know.
there's plus.
There's way more than
There's
that.
plus weapons and stuff like that that are way more. Zoom in here a little bit. Maybe that'll make it a little easier to read.
Yeah, really, the only place you're going to find the definitive list is in the items.dat file on the file system.
And then here you come back. Like, I don't even understand. Like, look at this experience table. Level 1, absolute 300, increased from last level 200.
Does that mean you start with 100 experience points?
I don't know. I don't think so. And definitely 300 wasn't what I needed because I marched my ass down there with 300 and it's like, oh, you need a little more. But your book.
Yeah, I don't get what that table's saying. Yeah.
And then all the spells, when you cast spells, when you type in, you then get to type how many magic points you use on each spell.
Mm-hmm.
but you don't know what more any magic points do, and there's no good feedback to really let you know, oh, I've bumped it up a level or I've anything like that.
Right. Yeah. This is like there. I guess there's more to this game than meets the eye based on all these statistic tables, but
Doesn't
none of
feel
it
like it.
feels meaningful.
No, it really doesn't.
Anyway, so yeah, the manual's garbage.
Manual's garbage. Um, our tips for anybody who wants to play this: first off, really think long and hard about wanting to play this.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel so bad like not recommending it because I did have quite a bit of fun with it.
yeah,
Like there was a time when I really enjoyed playing this game, and I couldn't wait to play it some more because after I had leveled up a little bit,
yeah,
um, but then that goes away. Like that, it's because it's samey.
it is.
It's just this.
It's fun for a while, and then it, like you said, it goes away, and it comes back, and it goes away, and I can see me having fun. I can see me having fun trying to finish it now without the deadline, but I don't foresee a time in the future where I ever come back and play this game. This was my
Yeah,
one time to get through it. And here, what's with the islands down south of the gate? Like, there's a whole half a map thing that seems to have nothing to do.
right. Yeah, yeah. That was when I found that gate. I was like, oh wow, that like
This must be where we got to go.
yeah, something different. That's exciting. And then you go down there and you realize that one, it's just another maze, and two, you never need to go down there.
Never need to go down there.
Now, in fact, there's very little of this game that you really have to do. Like you could speed run this thing.
You could.
Uh,
You could just run right to the last, you know, area and just try to get lucky in some of the battles and push your way through. Like
yeah,
take 4 fighters and just
yeah,
run it. It would work because no, nothing stops you from following the path straight to the end.
yeah. So what? Anyway, other tips that we had. My tips kind of changed
Yeah,
as I went through the game. At first, the first thing I said was never pay for unbinding. Like don't do it. But then I found myself doing it because my spells would fail so often.
yeah. If you're gonna try and do a pure run where you're not gonna reboot, pay for unbinding.
But really, the answer is, and this is the only tip you need to know for this game: just save and reload.
Save and reload.
Whenever anything happens,
Save and reload.
save and reload.
And don't feel bad about it.
Nope, nope.
Um,
Feel good about it if you want to play it. I
yeah,
mean, I don't.
because
I
even
don't know.
like even halfway up, the a mage battle's still terrifying. Even level 1 mages. Because I'm like, oh man, one of them is gonna bind me,
Right. Don't
and that's
even.
gonna be expensive. Any
I
skills
hear
you?
you're going to dispel.
Yeah,
What did that say?
I think I've already tried this.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right. Oh, the other thing you're going to need to know if you play this on DOS box is you got to slow it way down,
Way down. Yeah.
and it's like Control F11
Yep.
uh,
I
because
played
it
mine at
goes.
like 690 or whatever it was. Seemed to be the
Yeah,
speed I was happy at. Um,
and even as it even slowed down, there's still things that I felt like I missed, little blips of
yeah.
text and stuff like that.
Well, and like some of the clues you needed to get into the final tower didn't really stand out as clues.
Right.
Like, did you
Yeah.
figure out the gate spell?
Um.
Or were you still in the Tower of Gates?
I got through that. Um. Is
And
is
then,
that the one? No, I don't want. Well,
well,
we
okay,
may
so
as
you
well
get through the
spoil
Tower
it.
of Gates and you end up in a garden. I think we can say that without spoiling anything.
Yeah, and
Not that
there was the
anyone should
clue
want to go and
earlier.
play this game, but whatever, you might.
Yeah, yeah, I know what that clue is. I think.
So
Uh,
there's two. Like it's not just one of them.
right. One you get in the hidden
Yeah. One part of
dungeon.
the clue you get in a town, and one part you get in the hidden dungeon, and you need both of them to kind of get past this door. And I just was like, because I only really fathomed one of them at the time because I'm playing through this so fast. I just wasn't paying attention. I'm like, none of this is gonna matter.
Right.
And it was like, oh
Yeah,
wait, one of them did.
I could see like maybe in like 1984 when this came out. Is that when this came out?
Yeah.
Whatever. Uh, like having your notebook around,
Mhm.
mapping all this shit out. You know,
Would have been fun.
doing the whole old school role playing thing.
Yep.
That could have been,
Yeah.
but maybe it's like it's too fast nowadays.
Yeah. Well, you've got so much else to play.
Right.
When did this come out? Uh,
But like I had fun with Questron. Like I did a little
yeah.
bit of mapping and stuff, and here I tried to do it, but I just kind of
It is always, and I still want to do that mapping series. Mapping stuff on top-down dungeons is never fun or interesting. The 3D ones, it's fun to do the mapping. Top-down,
yeah,
it's not fun to do the mapping.
very
I
true.
don't know why. Maybe it's you feel like you got a better sense of it or something. But
Yeah,
I've never enjoyed mapping top-down dungeons. Um, this game came out in 1986.
86.
This
Okay,
it came out late enough. It should know better than some of these mistakes. I feel
I
like.
agree. Yeah, it was technically late 80s. Like it should have
Yeah.
been better.
Like if this came out in 82, I would be giving this a lot of pass because there wasn't a lot out to really set the stage.
Sure.
Um, and based on these
Like
graphics, 82 would have been my guess.
yeah, and I don't. It also drove me crazy at first that the fighters and especially the fighters were the same sprites as your guy, but with white boots.
Yeah, the colors are flipped,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
it.
that's dumb. That
Yep,
sucks. Like that's super lazy.
yep.
Yeah, here you go, stabbing these guys with your
Little
dagger.
daggers. Um, why is mace skill worth only 1 point? That is actually a fair question. Like,
Yeah, yeah. All the other weapon skills cost 2 points, and mace only costs one. And it's I know why they did it. So you can play a troll who's got a
yeah,
severe penalty and still have a skill.
still have something you can. I was wondering if maybe there were less mace weapons and they decided to balance it down that way. Um,
No, there's only like 5 weapons in the game. I swear, they're just modifications of the
yeah,
same one.
but ultimately the only weapon you want is sword anyway, because you're gonna get a sword, magic sword at the end as you get farther along in the game. That okay,
Yeah, it's kind of inverse because you start with only one weapon skill, uh, and then you wind up with all of them.
hmm
It's just
yeah, you
strange.
wind up with all of them and you only needed one anyway. So
Yeah, yeah. Kind of
don't
miss
settle
that.
for less than 13 magic points on a wind mage when you're starting. You're gonna need that. Need
Yeah.
priesthood.
The other
Uh,
thing, like if you don't want to do the save and load thing, is to use teleport a lot. Yeah, this is one of those interjections. Here we go.
it's kind of hard to see unless I do that.
Yeah, and there's the secret door thing in this game is like a mechanic they rely on pretty heavily.
Yeah.
This was one of the times they did it really well.
Yep.
Perhaps the only time they did it really well in this like MS Paint style.
Yeah. I found something so charming about that.
Yeah,
Like It's one of the few like happy moments I had in the game of just seeing this horrible graphic come up and
Me
being
too.
like, I love it.
Yep. It's awesome. And like no one would carve like that. I know that
No.
they like made it look shitty because it's supposed to be carved, but that's like clearly drawn in MS
Yeah,
Paint. That's why it
right.
looks like that. But yeah,
Oh my
that's
god.
so there's like a hidden door
Yeah,
right down there.
that you got to go find. Um, I'm just going through here, making sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, the other thing I didn't like was those chance and those scripted encounters. You
Hmm.
have to be in an exact square in the room. So if you're not careful and walk in and walk around the room, and of course, which is going to trigger another encounter,
Hmm.
you'll miss that stuff. So I learned that the hard way.
Last floor of the dungeon. I'm going to spoil this for people. They'll be fine with it. Trust me. In the last floor of the dungeon, you walk all around it. It's four rooms. It's not really the last floor. There's one more. You walk all around these four rooms, and there's nothing there. You have to bump into a wall that is otherwise nondescript from everything else to trigger the sequence to get you to the final floor for the final guy.
Yeah, that's a poor puzzle.
Like, that's not okay.
No,
I was looking for secret doors when I bumped into it and was like, no, this should have been.
right.
Oh,
They should have given thrown you a bone or something.
something.
I don't know. Yeah, a lot of it is like kind of revealed. That probably not that one, but a lot of the secret door things are kind of revealed in conversations you have in town,
Yeah.
uh, which is another one of those times where you would have wanted your pen
Mhm.
and paper to write down what the
Yeah.
people in town tell you, but I didn't have it in me most
Yeah.
of the time.
One of your other tips was take armored skin on all fighters. It goes along with mine. Go slow at the beginning. Like, really take your time and build up enough money to have everybody equipped how you want them before you go over the first bridge.
Yep.
I don't care how much XP you have or everything, but make sure all your guys are fully equipped before you leave that first area.
Yeah. I like just watching this. I know you're going to wind up reloading this combat.
Oh yeah, look at all the mages.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no
It's
way I'm getting out of this one.
yeah, and that sucks. Like
Yeah,
it shouldn't be like that.
here you go. Someone's
Yep.
frozen
There
in
you go.
ice. And so the
Down.
reboot, and this was one where I forgot to turn the speed down, so everybody's hauling
Oh yeah.
ass. And here, am I thinking about it? I'm probably thinking about it. I'm like, oh, maybe I should just reload.
Yep. That's totally what you should do. They yeah, and that there's some insta death spells too that are
Oh God, yeah, they never worked for me.
yeah they work for them.
They work for them just fine. I do like that their stuff does sometimes fail. Not always, but often enough that it does sometimes fail.
Yeah,
Um,
I like these area of effect spells too because it does add some tactical
yeah,
uh, options for you in combat to like form a wall with your guys, or you can decide to tempest your own guys.
or
Oh,
by
here we
yeah,
go.
there I go. I'm out. Um, by closing in, you can force them to not use area effect spells,
Yeah,
or without taking their own guys out with them, which is I'm fine with.
they do that quite a bit
Yeah,
too, which I like.
yeah. I guess I think I was helped had a desire to keep playing this game from nostalgia, but obviously not nostalgia for this game. It's just liking this era of games.
Yeah,
If you don't, you're not gonna like this game. The end.
yeah. Even
Um,
if you do, you might not like it.
yeah. Full party death saves game. The only other thing is like I want to talk about remakes for a second. Instead of remaking a good game, someone should remake the bad games.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea because there was potential here. I
Yeah,
mean,
this is a game that with polishing the interface and maybe adding a couple things like selling items and changing the level up a little bit and
mhm,
maybe tuning the spells to be a little more, balanced,
Hmm.
the game would suddenly become very fun. It
Yeah,
it is a
it could have
see
been
and slay
fun.
the evil wizard at the end, but so what? That's a trope because it's a good trope.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you did in 80s role playing games. You go through the mazes, you
Yep,
walk around the overland map, and then you kill a wizard, and that's it.
that's it.
Everyone
That's
goes
it.
home
So,
or to the sequel.
yep. Any last thoughts from you on it?
Uh no, I'd say don't bother with it, to be honest. Uh,
Yeah,
but that's pretty much it. Like I've processed my anger about the bad decisions they made in this game. So
yeah, I want to recommend it. I can't. I can't do it. It's
yeah.
just not good.
Here's one more question: are you gonna play Demon's Winter, the sequel, which is I seem to remember not being terrible.
I believe we will play Demons Winter.
Excellent. All right, we'll do it.
No, from some of the stuff I read, Demons Winter did take a lot into account and rebalanced a lot of things. Um, and like when I looked through the manual for Demons Winter, there's more classes, so it's not just fighter and wizard. Those aren't your only options.
Right.
So it looks like they added a lot more stuff to the game. It'll be fun to compare it to this game and see what lessons the people learned.
Yeah.
You
Is it
know,
the same people
I
that
think
did
so. I
Demon's
think
Winter?
so.
Okay.
If not, it's still from SSI, so it's somebody there
Right.
in that under that tent that did it. So, what lessons were learned? How did they improve it? Stuff from there.
Yeah.
The thing for Demon's Winter that I feel bad about, it came out the same year as Pool of Radiance.
Mm.
Nothing was going to look good that year.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was just such
That's
a good
tough.
game. Um,
Yeah.
I want to get to those someday, but I'm not sure when. I kind of like doing the stuff before it so that when we get there, there's a sense of how good those were. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, this was back when I still cast things like Column of Fire for some reason.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's Shard of Spring.
Yep.
Play it if you know feel the need, I guess, but don't say we didn't warn you.
Yep.
Um, and next time we'll be playing Auto Duel.
Ooh, yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that because it's my recommendation and
Right.
has the potential to go horribly wrong. Because
And I never played it. I have no
yep,
nostalgia for it, so
you're
we'll
going in
see.
blind. Are you going to try the DOS version or Apple or Commodore?
I'm not sure. What are you gonna do, Commodore?
I'm actually going to do the DOS version.
Ooh.
Haven't looked at the stuff. I feel like the DOS version looks better.
All right, I'll do DOS too because I
Awesome.
I know I'm really comfortable with DOS. So.
Yeah. Well, it'll be easy to record that way. So, Auto Duel.
Yeah. All right, looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. See y'all later, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.